Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I've got 4 replays in the Eastern Alliance Era 1 Tech Tree Medium Tank, the TVP T50/51. 51. What a great name choice that is. So if you do like the video, as always, don't forget to like and subscribe down below, as it really does help out the channel. And yes, the TVP in the Eastern Alliance Tech Tree. It's a damn good end to Era 1. It is a very, very good tank. It puts out damage very quickly. It's a very mobile vehicle. It's pretty accurate. The only downside to it is that you've got a decently long reload for the clip, and even then it's not really that long at 26.86 seconds with the stock gun. So yeah, on the whole, it's a pretty damn fun tank, and what you're seeing is this first replay is we are completely stock. This is literally the very first game that I played in it. So yeah, it's got a 26.86 second reload with the stock gun, which is 2.4k DPM, 248 standard penetration on the APCR, with 310 penetration on the premium heat rounds, 50mm of penetration on the HE rounds for 420. I don't really take any HE because I've had situations where I'm almost out of rounds, and I'd rather just make sure that I've got enough APCR and heat to be able to deal with the enemy vehicles. You've got 0.29 accuracy at 100 meters, which is pretty accurate. 2.48 accuracy during movement, with 0.82 accuracy during rotation with the build that I run on this stock tank is not great. It does bloom out quite a bit, but because you've got a 1.99 second aim time, it does aim in pretty damn quickly, meaning that you're ready to go with this gun to be able to put out clips just like that on vehicles like T44As and any other vehicle really that you come across. You've got a 1.71 second intraclip reload, which means, as you've just seen, you dump shells super duper quickly, and you pump out that 1200 plus clip incredibly quickly in the TVP, and that very, very nice burst damage clip is something that not many tanks have in Era 1, and this TVP does it magnificently. Honestly, it is a very, very enjoyable tank, even when stock, because realistically, the differences between being fully upgraded and stock in this tank is very, very little. The only thing you'll truly notice the worst is the fact that you're about 10 kilometers an hour slower when you're stock, and that's about it, really. Because you've got 8 degrees of gun depression, which is fantastic, means you're very flexible on a ridgeline. 34.89 degrees a second on the turret rotation speed is a lot slower than the hull rotation, which is 50.5 degrees a second, so the track traverse is really, really quick, which means that you might not want to run clutch braking, you might want to run something else to make something else about the vehicle better instead of the hull, because it's 15 degrees a second difference between the turret and the hull, which can feel really, really terrible, to be perfectly honest with you. You've got 487 meters of view range, meaning that you've got a decent amount of view range to be able to spot for yourself in this vehicle, but obviously True Vision also exists, so you can just see the targets. You've also got a 55 km/h top speed with a 22 km/h reverse speed, 750 horsepower engine, is 18.89 horsepower per ton ratio, which means that, yes, you will hit the 55 km an hour top speed quite easily, and that is running the traction system to get you up to 55 km an hour, and that's really the only true difference that you really feel when you get fully upgraded, is the fact that you travel over 60 with the top engine, whereas you got that 55 on stock. So yeah, there's not much to choose between being fully upgraded and stock on this vehicle, which is one of the very, very nice things about it, and you can have a hell of a lot of fun with it. And like I say, it is very, very nice. You've just got to get used to the auto-loading mechanic if you've never played with it. I mean, obviously, Cold War being a lot of newer players played it, they might never have experienced an auto-loader, and this is one of those play styles that you really have to get used to. You have to find where you're going to be useful and not be the focus of everyone's attention. Yet again, they are support tanks. You want to be popping in, going bang, 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 and then running away. And finding good positions to farm from where you can go hello, bang, and then hello, Mr. Object 165, bang, bang, and bang, and then get myself safe to somewhere else, right? Perfect example of it there. So what do I run in terms of a crew and equipment on the old TVP 50/51? Well, I run the same crew that I basically run for the rest of the line, and probably will run for the whole line in general, and that is a very standard MBT crew for Cold War, and that is Born Leader, Rapid Reload, 6th Sense, Steady Aim, Snapshot, Run and Gun, Track Mechanic, Clutch Braking, Rapid Aim, with Vents, Gun Stabilizer, and the Traction System. Traction System to go at that 55 km an hour, which will then go up even faster when we get to the top package. All 3 gun perks to make the gun as good as humanly possible, so that I can hit all of these delightful auto-loading rounds, so we can take out tanks just like that 165. Vents to make everything about the tank generally better, especially the reload, because we can't run the advanced loader, naturally, since we're an auto-loader. So making everything about the tank, like the accuracy, the DPM, etc., better with vents is something that I really want to do with it. You can run the powertrain to go even faster if you don't value having a slightly better reload or better accuracy, etc., like that. And then we run the clutch braking to make the track traverse better and the rapid aim to keep the track traverse going even faster, alongside the fact that we're making the tracks even way faster. But because of the fact we've got the traction system making the tracks even better than they are, and it means the turret rotation is so much slower, you could definitely drop the clutch braking for something like armor angling or any other perk like that. So as you've seen with the first game, we finished with 6,000 damage, 2 kills, the high caliber, the second class, which is 1408 base XP, which is the second class, which would indicate it's an average game. It's not really an average game, but that was the very first game I played in this tank, which is to indicate how much fun I've had with it and how good it is, because it is very good in this Era 1 environment. As long as you're avoiding the 4005s, you're going to be having a great time, which goes for every tank in Era 1, really, because 183mm of pain is not optimal, realistically. So, we're on to the second replay, and this second replay, we are now at a point where we are still stock, but this is probably the more average experience for the tank, realistically. And we're on this map, which is Fredvang. And on Fredvang, what I'm going to do on Encounter is push to the position at D7, because I can try and shoot anyone that camps up at B3 and try and reset the cap too, because it's Encounter. Naturally, you're going to expect the teams to gravitate towards the cap, so we may as well take a good position up here, which we've got elevation, to be able to shoot anyone that goes along the 1-2 line, because we can get good shots along the 1-2 line at times, and anyone coming out of their spawn along the 1-2 line. And then if we need to turn to the right to shoot anyone going along the AB line, we can also do that. You do have to be careful, though, with coming up here, because naturally you might find, like, 4005s or any other tank decides, yeah, I'm coming up here too. And you'll end up in a bit of a brawl, which is not something that you really want to be in the TVP 50/51, because it's not realistically a brawling tank. It's a support damage dealer where you're slamming the rounds home non-stop, pumping out 1200 plus clips without taking any shots in return, and then cleaning up towards the end as well. So we can see that M46A1 spotted, was spotted earlier on, but he's sat in the distance. So we put a shot out. Unfortunately, we miss. Just trying to find the right lead here. There we get one in. Can we get it again? No, missed that one. Can we hit it yet again? There we go. We get 2 out of 4, which is pretty good for that distance that we're at. And that's something that does help this vehicle, is having that 1400 meters a second shell velocity on the standard APCR. That velocity is beautiful, and it will help you at those distances, because obviously there's some other tanks that have 1000 meters a second shell velocity. It feels like the shells just loop, and that means that it's a bit more difficult with leading the targets at that distance, and it just doesn't feel that great. But with 1400 meters a second, it's quite nice. Although you've got to bear in mind that if you start to fire the heat rounds on this vehicle, you do have 900 meters a second shell velocity, which is not that great at all. It's below average, or below that 1000 meters a second average, which means that you have to give far more lead to hit targets at the range. So far, we've managed to get a good couple of clips out. We set that Centurion 2 on fire. We're nearly up to 2.9k damage, and our team is starting to cap. Our team has crumbled everywhere, but that's because that none of their team have bothered with coming back to the cap, or none of their teams bothered with the cap whatsoever. So what's ended up happening is I've supported the other flank from this position here quite safely, and anyone that's gone that way has ended up just dying, but they've made a fatal error, and that is that they've not played the map. They've literally lemming trained down one side, and they're getting stuck against 1 or 2 tanks, like a tank that is ferocious to deal with, which is the IS-4M over there, M46A1. So you can see I'm trying to use True Vision. Trying to use True Vision to see if there's anything coming to attack the cap from the right. Didn't see anything, so we're going to go try and defend it from the left. And it's like, hello, Mr. MX-38, let me finish you off. But sadly, he ends up getting behind cover. We see the T95E2, so we get 1 in, 2 in, 3 in. Can we finish him off? And we do finish him off there, which is perfect kill there on the T95E2, putting us up to 4.1k damage there. Light tank has managed to get towards the cap, but we have 4 people in it, and they haven't actually managed to reset anyone while they're just running around. And I'm toothless at this moment in time because I am in a full reload. The rest of our team is starting to crumble, but we're only 8 seconds away from capping. The heavy tank is in a position that I can't shoot them down at D8, so there's no point worrying about it. So it's just all about getting more damage out if I can push any more rounds down range. And we get 3 out of 4 rounds in before the game ends. And that was, again, a fairly more average game. although there was more in it there for the TVP, that was a fairly average game result-wise. With the epic victory, the second on the team with 1 kill, 4.7k damage, only 700 base XP. And that's because, well, we capped. We didn't end up winning by killing all their team, and therefore you get far less XP for that. But their team made the massive mistake of, they just didn't bother with the cap whatsoever, which is why if you got an encounter game, you've really got to defend both flanks. You can't just go down one side and hope for the best, because, well, if the other team caps one, that's your fault. And that was all on the enemy team for just not going to the cap whatsoever and just fighting on one side. So we're on to the next replay, and we are now on Erlenberg, and this is quite literally the best game I've had in this tank. It was truly a beautiful experience. And we've basically, in terms of how we are upgraded right now, we have everything but the top engine and the top gun, which means we've got better turret traverse and stuff like that. And yeah, we're going to have a very, very good time. So we are on Erlenberg. We've come to the early game position in Era 1, and that is this little position here at GH9, because from there we can shoot across, get early shots at the enemy team as they cross down the 2-3 line. And it is a great spot to be able to get that early damage, because generally you don't really take any shots in return unless their team are just eyefully watching your sniper spots and you occasionally take a hit. So we're just going to be doing what the TVP 50/51 wants to be doing, and that is shooting their opposite ridgeline without being the focus of enemy attention, and just keep supporting by pumping damage out left, right and centre. So we're up to 1200 damage so far. 4005 gets spotted. If we can put some shots into the 4005, glorious scenes. But sadly, we didn't get any shots into them, and we get our final shot of the clip into the T-34. But we're currently reloading, and that FV-107 started to come over, and I was like, oh no, FV-107, please don't do it. But thankfully for me, they ended up just going over the ridgeline and going off somewhere else. So we're just stuck in a reload, which is something that's going to happen quite often in your TVP. Naturally, you have a 26-odd second reload. You've just got to... This is why I always say that you've got to be putting yourself in a place to stay safe, and it's all about knowing how to play the autoloaders to get the most out of it. Because if you're just going, I've got a clip, and YOLOing around just dropping the clips, it's not going to end well for you. You might get a bit of damage out of that clip, but your ability and viability for the rest of the game doesn't go very well, and... well, you just won't have very good games. So we're up to 2.2k damage, because we got one shot there into the tank that was going behind the house, but it's not reappearing around the other side of the house. And I'm thinking I may as well start to reload at this point, as we might not get any other chances to shoot, but other tanks got spotted as they crossed the open, and sadly, we missed the final shell in that clip, and we are now in the full reload. The other thing that I do hesitate when reloading this clip sometimes, because we don't have the most ammo in the universe, and you might see something about that later on, and that is the fact that we will run out of shells at times. And I don't particularly like being stuck in the situation where I have an awkward amount of shells, where I end up having to spend time sitting there going, I'm reloading for 20-odd seconds for one shell, and it's not a time, and it's a mistake that happens quite often where you're not paying attention to your ammo loadout quite as much, right? And you do end up spending that 26 seconds, and you go in going, aha, I can clip this person. Wait, why haven't I got one shell? You know? So I try and avoid that situation. It's why I don't carry HE, because I don't really have much ammo in the first place, and I try and avoid the situation of having that, so I'm just trying to reload in my perfect clips amount of the ammunition that I have in the tank, so it's divisible by 4, right? So once we're loaded again, we're seeing where we can help. So we've got the T95 E3. We put 2 shots into him. I couldn't quite find any more shots in. Bulldog, we try and snap the shot in, but sadly we missed the first one, which means we can't finish off that Bulldog. It would have been so nice. We are very much rushing shots in this game. If we'd just taken an extra second to aim at times, we would have had so much more damage. But we were just rushing. And to be honest, it was a pain. We're also going to have a bit of bad RNG as well at times, which can be a little bit annoying in Era 1. Sometimes the gun handling in Era 1 does just feel more wonky than it should. But we've cut out the 4005. It's like, hello, Mr. 4005. For every shot we can get into a 4005, it's a great time. But we only put one in, we missed the other one, and it's like, okay, I need the full clip, so we're going to have to start reloading now. So we are 12 seconds out, just waiting for the reload, and hopefully we can poke over, shoot the Bulldog, shoot the E3, or shoot the light tank. They've also got a light tank charging down the 0 line, which we've got to be careful of. But if I can go over and finish off this Bulldog, or this light tank, this FV107, great. So the Bulldog ends up brake checking himself, putting himself really slow, so we finish him off. Can we get the kill shot on the light tank? Of course not, we just do track damage, but we finish him off with that shell. Now, that was risky, because we could have taken a shot from the 4005 very easily there, but thankfully we didn't, and we managed to get rid of both light tanks and help our heavy tank out. Sadly, with the shot that hit the side of the 107, it did track damage only. It meant that we've ended up going to a awkward amount of ammunition again at 7, meaning we've only got 1 full clip of APCR left, and then then we'll have 3 rounds. So again, we want to try and find the 4005s. We know where they were. They were in the distance over here, and I'm trying, with True Vision, trying my best to find them, and I just can't see them at this point. I thought that hay bale might have been it, but no, it's not a 4005, and I'm just not seeing them. Their T-34 was spotted, though, and he was actually in a position I could have shot him, but sadly I didn't. Their T-95E3 ends up seeing me from the position at G9. Could have got shots at the Tyran, but just couldn't quite find it. And that E3 is in a position that is not good for me, because he could quite easily poke over and start shooting me in the rear. And he's farming, my team are in the perfect position for him to farm them as well, because they're in the low ground at J0. But we're not getting spotted and found by the FV107. It's like, hello 107, track him with the first shot, which basically murders him. Bad RNG means that we end up not killing the FV107, and we end up tracking him, meaning that, once again, if we'd killed him with that 3rd shot in the clip, we would have had a full clip of APCR, but we ended up tracking him dead, which finished him off, and we got rid of the light tank, which is good, but we're just starting to look at our shell count and go, ooh, not good. Thankfully for me, the FV4005 ends up mucking up his shot, which means we can get in, clip him out, good night sir, and get out of my game, Mr. 183mm gun. Now, I want a full clip. I want a full clip so I can get rid of this E3 if I need it, or shoot the other 4005 there that's spotted. I didn't see the point in holding on to just 1 shell there, so we are loading the heat rounds again, because there's no point loading the 3 rounds of APCR until we're absolutely necessary, where we're going to end up loading a half clip, or maybe it's the 3/4 clip, isn't it? So now we're nearly loaded. We're going to try and see if we can find that 4005. He's in the cap, or was in the cap, as it ends up decapping there, but we couldn't see him. Then I think, okay, is that T-34 still over there? No, there's a T-95E3. So we put 1 shot in, and we damaged his Armour first shot. 2nd shot pops the lid. Okay, that's 1 E3 down. We know where the other E3 is. The 4005 was in our cap area, but we'll go for the full reload yet again, and I'm going to try and find a different angle on their E3. Maybe I'll get a better shot at it from over here. And once again, I know the T-34 was around G4. So now we're nearly loaded. That T-95E3, sorry, is in a position that I could shoot him, but the 4005 is my big want to get rid of. But I can't quite find his turret. So what I'm trying to do is just reassess where I need to be, where I want to be. I'm keeping my eye on the opposite side in case the T-34 appears. The T-34 isn't appearing. So we're going to see if we can get the shots into the 4005 again. We missed the first shot because the shell velocity is much slower and I didn't anticipate for it. I missed the first 2 shots because of that. The second shot led it perfectly, but the 4005 stopped dead, so it missed. But we get the final shot in. Absolute waste of a clip. Pain. Poor aim, and a little bit of bad RNG, in the fact that the guy just decided to stop. But we've ended up wasting ammunition. We took a hit from the T-34, which means I can take another hit from the T-34, but I really want to get rid of this E3 if we can, and that 4005. So the 4005 pokes up. We finish him off with the heat round. We've got 3 shells left. Our E3 is going in on their E3. Let's get rid of him. Shot to the back. It hits the floor. Second one hits. Third one does no damage. Oh, my lord. RNG. As you can see, the visible rage. As we end up just... I don't even know with RNG sometimes. That first one hit the floor. And it was mostly aimed on his side, and it was like the only little slither of the ground was in that reticle, and it still hit it anyway, because why not? It's like, thanks, gun, love you too. But we get the chance to finish him off. Once we were fully loaded, we always knew we were going to kill that E3. It's just the sad point that he was going to put us down to a one-shot for the T-34. But we're on 7 kills with 8,600 damage, and we are now just 1 versus 1. And the question is, where's that T-34? So we did take a shot from around the G4 location when we went over to shoot the T-95E3, or in that general vicinity, which could be anywhere along the G line. And my thoughts was, that T-34 has not moved. He stayed in the same spot that he was earlier on, right? That he was spotted. Couldn't see him, but he could be behind buildings where I cannot shoot him. So, we want to maneuver ourselves into a position where possibly we could end up being behind him. So we're just using True Vision to be perfectly careful, to make sure that he's not just in a position ambush spot ready to shoot me. I can't see him at this point, and as you can see, we're just not seeing the C-34. I haven't seen him at any point here, so instead, what we're going to do is maneuver ourselves down the A line, up behind their cap area, because once we start to get behind their cap area and to the 2 line, we should be able to see behind the buildings at GF4 and get shots into the rear of any tanks there, especially if he's still hiding behind those buildings. So this is where the mobility of the tank comes into play, and as you can see, we've not got the top engine, so we're still going 55 kilometers an hour, but it's still very mobile, right? So I'm just, this is a hit and hope moment, right? I know where I want to put myself. I know where I want to put myself to counter his possible position, but we don't really know where he is. The guy pings E5, and it's like, yeah, that's exactly where I thought he was. I don't enter the cap. I specifically go around the cap to make sure that I'm not going to set it off, so he has absolutely no idea where I'm coming from. I don't see him anywhere. It's like, where is this T-34? Where are you hiding? I just don't see him. And then we spot him. He spots us, and I'm like, what? He's there? I did not expect the T-34 to just be looking at us. Thankfully, he misses us. We missed the shot on his upper plate as well. But we've got 2 shells left. We've got to be careful. So we're just going to chance the shot on his upper plate. It tracks him, and I think, well, maybe he doesn't know I'm an autoloader. He might just drive out and give me his upper plate. But he doesn't. Meaning we've only got 1 shell of APCR and 1 shell of heat left. So we've got to be very careful. So I'm going to try and find an alternative angle at him, because I think maybe he's going to poke over on this side. So we're just going to edge ever so slightly and slowly around the corner, waiting and watching that corner to make sure that he's not going to be trying to sneak up on us around there. But I just have to be careful. I have to be so careful, because he could just finish me off in 1 shot, same as I can finish him off in 1 shot. So we poke around the corner, find him, aim the shot, straight through the upper plate, finishing him off. And satisfying end to that game for us there with the victory. 8 kills, 8,816 damage, 1,958 base XP. Very nice game there for the TVP /51. The Frost Heroes medal for 8 kills. And yeah, very nice game for the TVP, which was the best game I've had in the tank so far, to be fair. And, well, the best game I had in total in grinding it. And it is just such a nice tank to play. I can't describe to you how enjoyable this vehicle is, because it really is. It's a lot of fun in Era 1. So, we're on to the 4th and final game of this replay video thing that we're doing right now. And we are fully upgraded. This is it. We're now fully upgraded. We now go at a solid 66 kilometers an hour, which is great. Mobility-wise, absolutely fantastic. We still have a 26.39 second reload, or, well, we now have. It's only a little bit better than it was previously, which is 2,435 DPM, because it was 2.4k base DPM before that, with the stock gun. Our track traverse is ever so slightly better now, fully upgraded at 53 degrees a second, but our track traverse is still 34.89. So the track traverse has got even better with the new tracks. So you just got to be careful of that, which is why I say you probably don't need to run clutch braking. You can probably run something else entirely to make the tank better. Your internal fire chances drop from 12% to 10% as well with the top engine, which is quite nice, meaning you don't get set on fire all that much. Your accuracy during movement has dropped to 2.56. Your accuracy during rotation has gone to 0.65, meaning it's got slightly better on bloom while turning the turret and moving the tank. You've got 0.28 accuracy with the top gun with a 1.9 second aim time, which is very, very tasty, meaning you aim in super duper quickly with the vehicle with the top gun, which is very, very nice for the old TVP 50/51 and its fully upgraded time. So, this fourth replay, we're on Mannheim, and on Mannheim, we're just going for the shots into this M46A1 as it makes a mistake of crossing. Thankfully, we end up ricocheting the shot there from the M48A5, which was quite lucky because, realistically, this tank doesn't have any armour. It just has angles, which gives you the Batchat type armour, right, where you bounce things that you probably feel like you shouldn't have done, but you do. And now we are nearly loaded. It's like, what should we do? Should we go after the Tyrann or the M46? Well, Mr. Tyrann's giving me his ass, so we may as well do that. We damage his engine, which means we could possibly set him on fire, but it doesn't happen. We do end up taking a hit from the Shah 40T. Their light tank comes chasing in. We're up to 2.2k damage, but we're now in a position where there's not really much on this flank, and a lot of their team are here, and it's not something that the TVP wants to be doing. It doesn't like being involved in a battle where there's a bit of a pack going on and you start to become the focus of people's attention, because the Tyrann would have turned around to start shooting us, same as the M48, and the Shah 40T on our flank could have just YOLO'd us to start clipping us. All sorts of bad things. So I didn't want to be part of that, so we just got out of dodge and came to help the opposite flank. So we find the Centurion 5-1. We can clip him out if we pen all of our shots. So we're just making sure that all the shots are going in. Good night, Mr. Centurion 5-1. And that is the perfect auto-loader moment where we just surprised the Centurion 5-1 out of the blue, went, hello, friend, clipped him out, killed him. Perfect. So we're just waiting the reload now to get after this IS-4M, which is a bit of a tricky one to pen, especially for 248 pen. But if we get his side, we should be okay. So he ends up finishing off my Centurion 5-1, which is a sad moment for us because it would have been nice to have him. We ricochet one off his side. That one hits the floor somehow. Not sure. That one also misses. Not sure. Don't know how those both missed, but there we go. That's RNG for you. Sometimes it's like, why RNG? Why? You know? But we're up to 3.6k damage. And again, I can't sit there in front of an IS-4M while I'm reloading. This is where you've got to use your mobility to get yourself back to safety, and then you can reload. But now I'm nearly loaded. We're going to go after the IS-4M because I can clip him out, but I've really got to make sure I'm penning them all. So we put one shot in. Didn't pen it. But we damage his ammo rack. Bazinga! We end up blowing the ammo rack there of the IS-4M because we damaged it with the first shot, and I thought, let's use the autoloader ability of just shooting the same spot really quickly. And because we damaged the ammo rack with the first shot, we shot it in the exact same spot as we did a minute ago, and we popped his lid for 800. Glorious scenes. You love it when RNG goes, yeah, sure, I'll do that, right? We're up to 4.8k damage with 2 kills. And we're just waiting on the clip to go in and getting towards where the next set of damage is, which is towards the area we were to start this game. So we see the FV101. It's like, hello, sir. Get one shot in, going for that second shot, put him down to a potential one shot, but he gets himself away from us. Can we find any other shots at him? No, we can't. We see the M48A5 is currently chasing after the medium tank that's next to us, the T44A. I'm like, hello, Mr. T44A, run away, sir. He's not, though, so we end up putting 2 shots into the M48A5, reloading, and now deciding, okay, I need to pull back and run away if I can. But there's a light tank coming up behind us, and that's not good. It's an FV107, or is it 101? It's a 101. So we are still reloading currently, and I want to get after the M48A5 if I can and get rid of it because he's got a dangerous gun. So we actually catch out the M48A5 here, get 1 shot on the move, 2 shots, which sets him on fire, and then he ends up finishing off. I didn't want to waste that second shell there because I thought, well, he might just burn out, and he did. We get 2 final shots there into the light tank across the river, and now we're on a full reload with the TD chasing him behind us, which is, oh no. It's a 4005. Oh, that's awkward. The 2 light tanks are going around my heavy tanks. So we're just waiting for the reload. Hopefully get the surprise on this 4005. Drop a full clip in. The light tanks we're going after the M103. The M103 has been finished off by the 4005. So now we're loaded. We're getting the tracking shot in. We aimed for that track straight away so we could track and pin him in place. Damage his engine. Get him down to a one-shot with the final shell. I'm like, Mr. Light Tank, it's all on you. Oh. Oh, this is awkward. We've spent 5 seconds reloading one shell as well, by the way, which is also awkward. The light tank comes in, drops a clip into us, sets us on fire, and we're just bleeding. And we've got, because it set us on fire, it reset our reload down really low. And our chances of reloading are going down the toilet before he gets after us. He's still chasing, hoping I could get myself safe, but both of them are here. And, well, there's absolutely nothing I can do while I'm reloading at this point. They damaged the ammo rack, which resets the reload. And, yeah, that was the end of us, which is a sad time to finish on a defeat, but that was another very good game showing what this tank is capable of. It is very, very good. And, yeah, it was a sad time to finish the defeat. But that's the end of the vehicle for us. So we finished with the Ace Tanker, the Sniper Medal, the High Caliber, with that 1,049 base XP on a loss, which is a sad time for the TVP/51. But it is a very, very good tank and a very good end to Era 1. So, as always, everybody, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.
A great success.